Omaha?
No, the government school was right on the reservation at the agency at the Cheyenne River. I'm from the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, see. Has nothing to do with the Cheyenne Indians. It is, they was, these four Indian groups was camping by the Cheyenne River when the Army come and took them over and said that they had to stay here, and they're going to make them a reservation here. See? So that's
when you were at the government school, you had been trained in the traditional ways. Can you describe one time where you felt like you were being asked to do something that was really at variance with, or you just didn't agree with you, or it was hard to adjust to? You know,
in the government school itself? Oh yes, it was. That's why I left. It was unbearable.
Describe something that
okay,
was unbearable.
Us, you see, there's many colors of us Indians, you know. There's dark Indians and there's light Indians. And these disciplinarians was always pitting the light ones against the dark ones, creating hate and dissension, see, among the, and they had us fighting all the time. And I was very adept at fighting. I got very good. So I seen that I wasn't learning anything except that hate and dissension, see, or hate and discontent, actually, is what and we lived in dormitories, large dormitories. You know.
How many kids were in that school?
I think there was probably 300, K through 12, in that school.
Then you went to school in Omaha.
Yeah, it was a boarding school, see. No, I didn't go to Omaha. I was going to go. Well, when I come back, well, I called a priest and down at Chamberlain, and I said, "Is that still open?" No, he said, they're filled up now. This was sometime in October, last of October. He said, "But I'll see if I can find you an opening." So here he come on a Monday afternoon. He picked me up and he said, we got a school for you." He said, "There's one in the state of Washington, in Spokane. Oh, there's one in Georgia, in that ocean right away." That was, I was obsessed with the ocean, see. I said, "How close to the ocean is it?" He says, "It's in Athens, Georgia." I said, "I'll go." So I went to St. Mary's in Athens, Georgia, and I graduated from high school. But then in the summertime, I didn't come home, see. I would work, I'd go down to Savannah, I'd work the shrimp boats, and go back in the Okefenokee swamps, and hunt alligators.
At what point, you know, the war started for the United States in 1941.
Right.
And so where were you when
I was over here in Lincoln, Nebraska, going to university.
Okay. And you were studying what now?
I was going to become a veterinarian.
Did that ever come about?
No.
No.
I went off to war. Well, I signed up in 41, but I didn't get to go till it was late, early January, and then March it was. Then it got, the 1st of March is when I went into the service, because I signed up on what they call a minority cruise. It was regular Navy, see. They wasn't drafting anybody then into the Navy. They was drafting them into the Army. but nobody into the Navy. So I signed up there.
What was the highest rank you ever achieved in the Navy?
Chief Petty Officer.
Chief Petty Officer.
Yeah.
Because of your skill in language, you became one of what they called the code talkers. You had
Right. Mm-hmm.
traditional English. You had English plus the traditional language background. How did you get selected for that?
They had, from my background in the training and everything, I far outdistanced everybody in boot camp, and then when I went to this fleet school, what they call a fleet school, they start putting us through this training, and then they selected the volunteers, you and you, you know, the method. They would point to the different ones and tell them they volunteered for this. So then we got into, that was Scouts and Raiders then, see. They was putting together this amphibious group that would go in and train with explosives and how to handle mines. And
So the code talking stuff came later, is that what you're saying?
yeah, well, during this course, this training, I used to talk to he was a lieutenant. He was full-blooded Sioux Indian, and his name was Samson One Skunk.
One skunk?
One Skunk. And we'd talk to each other, see. So when they needed somebody to do this, well, he said he's all trained, and he knows the language, and he knows English better than I do, he said. And
where did the original idea come from to use Native American languages as code? Who came up with that idea?
they did that in World War I. You know, when they was, they had to holler though, over from the trenches, see. And they'd holler in this one thing, and what they would tell this Indian to say this to over there, and then he would say it, and then that Indian would tell his commanding officer, see. So they started doing that, and then they got into the explosive deal, see. So that's the way it got started. But you see, what we did, we'd go in first off. We didn't do this, but later on, in '43, we would go in and take the sounding, the depths over there, and what the tides were, and there in Normandy, I and my commanding officer even snuck in and took some buckets of sand so that the Army could test it and see how heavy a vehicle could go on it, see. But we would take that, and then we'd code talk it back to the ship or wherever this code talker was, see. You know, the other one that was receiving me. So I'd give him all the soundings, and then he'd, and at different tides, see. You see, they didn't do that. They used large binoculars, and they had people going around the island and everything there in Tarawa, you know, and down in the Marianas. And Tarawa was just this one where they wanted to use, it had a good place for an airstrip, and they wanted to get that, and they went in, see. And they didn't check the tides or anything, and those ships and those boats and those the Higgins boats, the landing crafts and everything got hung up on the coral reef because it was